I'm appalled at what you said on that pod thing. It's disgusting.
This is the After the Show podcast. It's where we get honest and real with your ass. So sit back, relax, have a blast, because it's time for the After the Show podcast.
Yeah, hello and welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast. Happy St. Patty's Day. Ow! That's what we got going on here today, y'all. Okay. Don't know if you got your drinking out of your system over the weekend or if there's anybody really going out to tear it up and fire it up one more day.
Yeah, what maniac is tearing it up today?
I'm sure there's a maniac or two out there. They're probably Irish, full-blooded Irish, and saying, okay, this is what we got to do. We got to go make this thing, got to make our people proud.
Well, speaking of maniacs, I heard that there might be moonshine.
Oh, yeah, there is. Oh, yes, there is. We talked to him on Friday with his lovely wife, and Bob told us he was coming back to South Florida, originally from Jensen Beach. He has settled in an area known as Sugar Tit, South Carolina, and he is going to be selling his wares, now doing moonshine up there. They have a distillery. He's going to be popping into Daytona Beach to sell it. And he is here today, as he promised he would on Friday, bringing us some swag from Sugar Tit Distilling and also some moonshine itself, which is, I don't know if it's Irish, but by God, it'll get the job done, won't it?
Well, I didn't drive here today, so
okay.
I'm ready to moonshine it up.
It is something. Now, I am not any kind of expert on moonshine, but it was something that where I was from, Southern Ohio, West Virginia, all that kind of stuff. They love grain alcohol and moonshine. I had a buddy of mine that they would make it in his barn. And I remember we got it, and they put it in the mason jars, which if you know what that is, you a lot of times can green beans and stuff in it, and they had just a mason jar of it, which I guess how you should properly serve up some moonshine. And I remember the first sip of that, I'm like, oh my God. I've never drank jet fuel, but if I had, I imagine they taste probably about the same. It was powerful stuff, man.
Virginia brought some moonshine, illegally, of course, from Louisiana, and it knocked off the pubic hair. It was
it's something. It's something. And you know, the thing that, because I grew up with it, you know, where I was, it was always a very hidden thing, and people would have, in fact, where I was as a little kid, we would play in this gully, which is kind of, you know, just an embankment that kind of goes down. We don't have them because Florida's so flat. But it was woods and all that stuff, and we had forts down there and everything. And there was an old overturned horse barn and thing that had a trailer that was down there. And when we went into it, we found an old still. So the person was using it because it looked abandoned. That was where they were making their shine because you had to hide from the authorities. I'm like, oh my gosh. So it was always such a taboo, illegal kind of thing. And then I grew up watching a TV show called The Dukes of Hazzard. And the whole show was based on the premise that these were shine runners. In Kentucky. And so they had, in fact, I think NASCAR has its basis in shine running, where they were trying to make these super fast cars because they're trying to outrun the law. The law would try to catch them and bust them, especially around Prohibition, and they had to outrun the authorities. And so they kind of got that. And then getting your car to go fast and then racing it and all that kind of stuff became a thing. And then NASCAR coming from the South where a lot of shine does all kind of ties in and makes some sense.
Not going to lie, kind of excited to try some shine on a Monday.
Well, to the point, what has happened is shine is not taboo these days like it used to be. And I couldn't figure out how they were making it. I remember the Queen and I one time, we were just on Hollywood Boulevard in Hollywood, kind of bar hopping, and we came across a place and they had moonshine. I'm like, this can't be real moonshine. But I guess it was, and they had great flavors, and it almost was like any kind of vodka-infused drink. I'm like, okay, this doesn't taste anything like the shine I had out of a barn in Hocking County, Ohio, back when I was a high school kid. And it's a different game. And so now they make the shine pretty tasty, and it's just a beverage. So Bob is in here. I'm sure obviously has more authority on it than I do.
Bob!
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey, Bob, hop on right up to Virginia's microphone there. Get nice and close.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you stopping by, man. Thank you so much.
That microphone's used to loud voices, so it kind of.
Yeah, so you got to get a little bit closer. So she's used to yelling into it.
It's used to moonshine voice.
Yes.
So it knows.
So yeah, you were talking about like moonshine being in the mason jar. So we have some of our moonshines in mason jars.
You do? Okay, so it's that's the
so we
authentic
kinda
presentation.
So there's that mason jar, right?
Look at that sugar tit, baby.
Right?
Okay.
But they also came in jugs, right? So we got one that's in a jug, and that's our 120 proof clear corn whiskey.
Is that the big boy?
That's the big boy.
Okay.
This is won a gold and bronze medal from the American Distillers Institute competition.
Wow.
So
okay.
we're an award-winning distillery.
So how did you learn so much about it? Because you're from Jensen Beach. You're a Treasure Coast, Florida guy, and
Right.
you got up there for an unrelated job and then
Right.
just kind of got into it as a hobby, I guess. But how do you get good at it?
So just over time, we came up with our own recipes. Like I read into it. I used to design wind turbines and jet engines and things like that. So I had that engineering background type thing. So I just looked into it. I kept hearing about moonshines and stuff, and I thought it was pretty cool. So we moved to that area called Sugar Tit. Somebody brought some supposedly homemade moonshine over. Said to the wife, it'd be a good name for moonshine, Sugar Tit Moonshine. So,
Big time.
So I said I was going to
Brilliant.
trademark the name, which I did.
Yep.
Do hats and shirts, which I did,
Yep.
and then sell all of that. No intentions of making moonshine.
Right. Yeah. Who needs it? I mean, honestly, there's so many products. It looks like a label, and people just want to wear the shirt. You don't have to have the moonshine.
Exactly. So we were selling a lot of hats and shirts. We would go to the local flea market and sell it. So but people wanted the moonshine. So I went back to the wife and said, "What do you think about making moonshine?" She said, "What are you, crazy? You work 10 hours a day at GE. How are you going to do that?"
Right.
Yeah.
I said, "I have no idea, but every time we have a good idea, we never follow through. Let's try it. If it fails, we're coming back to Jensen Beach anyways." So I looked into it, I read up on it, and I learned how to do it. And right now we're distributed into North Carolina, South Carolina, Mississippi, Florida, and Pennsylvania through the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board's website.
When you first started, I was kind of curious because you are, from what I can gather, and I've got family in that area, and they seem to take pride in those kind of things. And I know how sometimes Southerners can be about outsiders and Yankees and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
How was your moonshine received at first? Was it?
So in the beginning, when I was thinking about doing it, a friend who supposedly made the homemade moonshine said, "They're not going to let you do it here, but if you let me become a business partner, they'll let me do it."
Right. Okay.
So that never happened, but I ended up going to the town to get the licenses, and they allowed it.
Okay.
Yeah, they allowed it. So that was good. So then I had to go get my federal license and my state license, and had the town license. So yeah, it was a process. It took about a year to do all of that.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was a little bit of time.
I don't want to speak for Kevin, but I'd love to motorboat some sugar tits.
That's right, baby. That's what you do, right?
That's right. Yeah.
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 That's what you do.
People come into the distillery and they say, "What's with the sugar tits?" And I say, "There's just one. There's no S on it. It's just one tit."
Yeah.
I said,
One tit.
I say
tit,
I like two, but it's just one. And they just all laugh. So we have a good time at the distillery. Everyone comes in.
That's
We have a
awesome.
great time. We do
That's fun.
tastings and tours.
Yeah.
That's great.
So tell me, how does that differ? Because you talked about your higher proof, 120 proof,
Right.
I believe what you said on the moonshine and the grain alcohol. So where I was from, they had something called Everclear.
Yes.
And we would do that for what we called our Hairy Buffalo parties, or it's got all kinds of different names. But we had to drive to West Virginia to get it. And I was an hour from the border, so you couldn't get it in Southern Ohio. So we drove there and got it. How does an Everclear differ from actual moonshine?
So Everclear is like 190 proof, right? And I think it's just a whiskey that's made in a big factory. It's not made like I'm a micro distillery. So I have a 250 gallon still. They probably have 1,000-gallon stills or bigger, and they're making that Everclear, right? So they're just making it.
Is it basically the same alcohol though? Because it's corn-based.
It's corn,
right?
yeah. So
Is
basically,
it
it's
distilled almost the same
yeah,
way.
probably. It's a corn whiskey. So
And it comes out clear.
Mine comes out clear. All whiskeys come out clear.
Yeah.
When you age it or add flavors to it, that's when you get different colors.
Yeah, my son had told me that's usually a lot of times the barrel that they age it in, right? Kind of takes on that coloring.
Yeah, so if you, like a bourbon has to be aged in a brand new white American oak wood barrel for 2 years, and you can only use that barrel one time to be called a bourbon.
Right.
Otherwise, then it's a whiskey. So I make an aged whiskey also, but I don't use barrels because I didn't have room. If you looked at pictures of our old building, It was a
Yeah.
building built in 1857. It was an old apothecary, and it was only 1,000 square feet. So I came up with the idea of using these stainless steel milk cans, 10 gallons, and you can buy like wood spirals, wood chips, wood staves. I use a white American oak wood spiral that equals the surface area of a 10-gallon barrel. It sits in there for 8 weeks, and it equals 8 months worth of aging. It's my number 3 seller.
Okay.
But I don't use one spiral. I use 2. So I get a nice deep color, a nice almost, I get a bourbon flavor, but it's not, you can't call it a bourbon because it's not in that barrel for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we call it an American whiskey.
I loved an aged whiskey. I love a young whiskey. I like them
Take
all.
them any way you can get them, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. It's my number 3 seller, so people love it.
So do a lot of people like, because the way I've seen moonshine now marketed,
Right.
they almost market it like it's a girly drink, and it's got these kind of flavors.
Yeah.
And the way that I see it, we've been up through Pigeon Forge in that area, which
Yeah.
is, the rest of my family's from that area. And I've
Right.
seen they have a lot of moonshine that they now do in that area. And it does have that approach. So what is the difference between your more powerful moonshine and do you put it in a way that makes it more tasty, more palatable,
Yeah.
so your average person's going to be able to drink it?
I do. So those moonshines you're tasting up there in the Gatlinburg and all those
Yeah.
places, they're 40 proof, right? Mine are 80 proof.
Okay.
So you're
Yeah.
getting twice the alcohol for just a couple more bucks a bottle.
Okay.
So yeah, so we're making a quality product. You can make mixed drinks with mine. I've heard people say they like those 40 proofs, but you're just drinking watered down whiskey, right?
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I
And
figured.
they add and fake flavors. We
Yeah.
use all natural flavorings. We use all quality products. So I want
Great.
my product to be a quality product.
I wouldn't expect anything less from Sugar Tit.
Right, exactly.
I can't wait to motorboat this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll try a little bit here with what varieties do you have for us, Bob?
Well, today I brought the Bootleg 120. That's the 120 proof.
Okay.
That's the award winner. I brought a blackberry. That's pretty good. Everybody's in the crown blackberry.
and the mason jar, love it.
Right,
That looks
this is
good.
good.
Yeah.
And I came up with a mason jar that a bartender can hold. Right, so
Oh yeah.
there's other mason jars that are short and squatty.
Right, you're
this
right.
one's tall and thin, so bartenders can hold it, and then you can add this pour cap to it, so you don't spill.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, that's smart.
So that's the blackberry. I brought my apple pie. That's another award winner.
Okay.
Ooh, I definitely
Everyone
want that.
tells us it's the best apple pie they ever tasted.
Okay.
And then I brought the peach. So the peach is
Okay.
good. South Carolina grows more peaches than Georgia, believe it or not.
Do they?
Especially in
Okay.
the upstate of South Carolina.
I am calling in for tomorrow.
Yeah, just right now. Yeah.
And then this is one of my cream ones. This is called Carolina Cookies and Cream.
Ooh.
This was my number 1 seller. This one's 36 proof. So when you do anything with a cream, you have to stay under 40 proof or the cream will separate.
Oh wow.
I'm
Okay.
also the only distillery in the whole world that has the flavoring that goes into this because friends of mine make it and they only sell it to me as far as whiskeys go.
Okay.
They sell it for other food products,
Yeah.
but I'm the only one in the whole world that has that flavoring.
Amazing. That's cool. Yeah, that's what I'd seen with a lot of the moonshines is a lot of flavorings
Right,
and
yeah.
tasty but less
Exactly.
alcohol
Yeah.
and not the good old stuff.
Right, it's all watered down. I also use certified North Carolina mountain spring water. I drive my pickup truck to Hendersonville, North Carolina, and I bring back 45-gallon jugs of that water every time I go up there, and that's what I use to proof it down.
That's impressive though. But water's got to be so paramount. I mean, because even with the alcohol, it's still the number 1 ingredient. I would assume.
Exactly, yeah, because if you when it comes off my still, it's coming off the still at 190 proof.
Yep.
By the time it still fluctuates through the process, so we end up around 185 proof at the end.
Okay.
So the last run we just did, we got 26 gallons at 186 proof. So now I'm going to take that water if I want to make the peach, right? So it's 80 proof. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break that 186 down to 160 proof with the water.
Okay.
And then I'm going to add half of that 160 proof to the jar, and then the other half's going to be the flavoring, and that's going to make it
Okay.
80 proof.
Okay.
And that's how you do it.
All right. There you go. And if you're on KVJ TV right now, Denny's has put up the address that you need to go to if you want to order because people were asking. It's just sugartitmoonshine.com. And that's smart. You got the website, and that's easy.
That's for merch.
Okay.
So we just got distribution in Florida last year. We're about in a dozen liquor stores in Florida.
Okay.
Our distributor is Platinum Reserve out of Lakeland, Florida. There's a store in Lakeland called Nick and Moe's Liquor. They can ship to 17 states. And they can also ship to Florida. So we're trying to get more distribution in the Florida, trying to get more liquor stores into Florida.
Yeah.
Right? So we have the distributor, now we need to get more liquor stores. So I'm actually doing an event at the Daytona Speedway Friday,
Okay.
Saturday, and Sunday, the Turkey Rod Run, if anybody's ever heard of that. It's
Okay.
one of the biggest car shows on the East Coast. We'll be doing free tastings, and we're going to be inside the track at 2 bars called Beers and Gears. They have two separate bars.
Feels right.
Right?
Yeah.
So they can come do a tasting at our tent, and then if they want to buy a bottle, they can go over to the Beers and Gears bar
Yep.
and buy a bottle.
Okay.
We'd like to buy more bottles.
Smart, yeah.
Right, exactly.
That's a good way to do it. Good way to do
So
it.
it's a way to help promote us and hopefully get us into more liquor stores in Florida. If you want us in your local liquor store, go to that liquor store, tell them you heard us here and you want it, and
Yep.
then they can get a hold of me. They can call my phone up in South Carolina at the distillery. It's 864-249-6483.
Okay.
And they can call us there, and then we'll get a hold of the distributor. But it's Platinum Reserve distribution out of Lakeland, Florida.
We are only asking for 23% of sales.
I got it right here. Here it is.
We should go pay us in shine.
You're going to pay you in shine.
That's just my
Look
game.
at that shine. We'll forget about the deal we made.
It wouldn't be the first time we traded shine for something.
Yeah,
I don't doubt that.
I believe it. Do we have glasses? Did you have glasses?
I
You
actually,
need that? You got
I
them?
got these little taster cups. These
Oh,
are
look at you.
actually,
I should have figured. You're
these are
ready.
communion cups. We got these.
Smart, yeah.
And they're a half ounce, so we're allowed to do. When we do our tasting, we can do 4.5 ounces per person per day. In the tasting, we do 3 ounces.
Yeah.
And we do half ounce, so you can try 6 different products.
I gotta
a
tell
half
you,
ounce each.
you would cram in those Southern Baptist churches up there in South Carolina if you
come
could
in-
actually serve some shine instead of that bunk grape juice they usually
If I
do.
drink some of this shine, I'm going to start one.
We're going to
Yeah.
start with 120 proof, I think.
Well, yeah.
We're going to go
Okay.
big and go home, right? If you don't mind.
Wow, okay.
I want to go home, but I want to go big.
He's going on the. He's going to start on the big end and work us down to the weak
So-
stuff.
Tomorrow's going to be really awful
I like
for
the
you,
way Bob
Kevin.
thinks here.
So it is St. Patty's Day, right?
Yeah, you know,
Right?
it's probably good to get this first because you have a clear palate, so you're going to get the legit shine basically here, right, Bob?
Yeah. You get one to
Okay.
Kevin.
So I got to remember if this is as dick kicking as I remember when I was.
So,
first time I had this, I was a.
so before you drink this, right? You're gonna get an evaporation when you do drink it. You're gonna get an evaporation through your nostrils, and it's gonna come down nice and warm. You're gonna be surprised how clean and smooth this is.
So do not, it's insulting. I won't even do a chaser. I'll just drink that bitch.
Yeah,
and
don't do a
I'll-
chaser.
I will.
The other thing is,
just let it, yeah, because look, and where I grew up, like I was looking for a chaser,
Right.
and the farm boys wanted to kick my ass.
right?
You
So-
bitch.
Yeah, you do not do a chaser with shine.
No. So the other thing is,
That is a
we
taboo.
okay.
That's right. So
Yeah.
we distill 6 times, so it's really clean and smooth. So that 6 times distillation, and that North Carolina mountain spring water that's in here is going to make it really smooth.
Let's make it smooth.
Okay, let's see what this is
Let's
like.
do a
Us-
happy St. Patty's Day.
Happy St.
Yeah,
Let's
happy
move
St.
over.
Patty's Day.
Cheers.
Some moonshine. Here we go. How about that?
Is that clean and smooth or what?
That is, that is just, yeah.
Right? You
Now,
get a little burn.
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, again, I had a bitch palate when I was a junior in high school and had that for the first time, but that is not what I remember. That's easy. You can do that.
You get a little sweetness on there too.
You do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
little
But
sweetness.
it's got that, wow, man. It just is.
Yeah.
It tastes great.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you have an ulcer like myself, it goes right to the ulcer.
It will hit it.
It'll hit it,
fast.
yeah.
Yeah,
You gotta take
that'll warm you up.
Which means it's working.
It's working. Definitely.
I love it. I think
Yeah.
it's great.
That was fantastic. Okay, that changed the old perspective on the moonshine for me, which that's much better than jet fuel.
Ralston did a little bitch ass shot, didn't you?
So we brought a
Yeah, I
bu-
just did. I did a test.
That's right.
I'm drying myself out of here.
I spilled some on the console here. It's burning
it's
through,
just
but it'll be
getting
all
the
right.
tongue wet.
Please
just
do
tell
not
the-
spill stains on our stains.
Virginia will say, "Why is there a burned hole in my table over here?" It's just moonshine, Virginia. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, she wouldn't mind at all.
But I brought some others. I mean, you're welcome to take these home with you. You can pick what you
Yeah,
want.
I want to get just a little bit of a sample to kind of
Yeah.
let the people know what we're going
Yeah,
through
yeah,
here.
we can do that.
Now, with the moonshine, like you got that. Now, are a lot of people going to be drinking that straight as the moonshine, or are they going to be mixing that with something else?
So we have different recipes we put out on our website.
Smart, okay.
Right, so you can make a lot of mixed drinks with these. So, you were talking about flavored vodkas. I always tell people especially with the clears, treat it like a vodka. We call them Moonshine Marys instead of a Bloody Mary.
Right.
You make a Bloody Mary with that. It's really good.
Moonshine
Right?
Mary.
Moonshine Mary. So,
Interesting.
So how that bottle that you use, how much more potent is that? What am I looking at if I'm looking at a vodka? What is
so
the
vodka's like 80 proof.
Okay.
This is 120 proof, this one.
Okay, so this is you need a little less.
You need a little less.
You'll get more.
I do have one that's an 80 proof, and I do have one that's 100 proof.
Okay.
So the 80 proof's called Whiskey Boy after our Golden Doodle whiskey. He was our original distillery doodle.
Oh, that's cool.
He unfortunately passed last year, but he was a good boy.
Yeah.
And then the other one's called Simply Naked. That's the first one we ever came out with because 100 proof moonshine, you're going to get naked, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
You're doing the marketing right, Bob.
Right. So we call that one Simply Naked.
Okay.
So those are the 3 clears. So I have an apple pie, a pineapple, peach, blueberry, plum raspberry, butterscotch, blackberry, the cookies and cream, and I got a new one called Carolina orange cream. It tastes just like a creamsicle.
ooh.
The flavors sound absolutely amazing, and what I find interesting too is looking at the proofs is how much they vary.
Right.
And so you would want to be careful in your shopping and in
Right.
your drinking, just knowing that hey, just so you know, we're jumping into 120 here.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not at 40 like that little bitch ass stuff you got in Gatlinburg.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what they say in the moonshine business? Too much moonshine, it makes you want a 69.
Did they say that?
In the business.
And it just happens to be my birthday next month. I'll be 69.
How about that? All right, to Bob's birthday.
Cheers.
Yeah.
So you want to try another one?
Yeah, let's give it a little shot here just so we can represent, because I know people are very interested in this. I'm learning a little bit
This
about
is a-
moonshine here today.
Right? This is the blackberry. You might have to.
Was that
Get
first
some
one we
muscle
just
here.
did? Was that the apple one?
No, that was the clear.
That was a clear.
The 120
that
proof.
A very nice finish on
Right?
that thing.
Nice
He
finish.
gave you, I mean, if you can handle that, these are going to be
Yeah. These are-
easy going.
Can I handle that shit?
Yeah.
You kidding me?
Yeah, that was it. That's the one. If you made it through that first one, he started us on the rough
gonna-
end.
Oh, you're gonna get so many weird ideas from me today.
I'm gonna
Can't
put
wait.
the. I'm gonna put the cap on this so we can pour it without spilling it too much.
Okay.
We sell a lot of these caps at the distillery too.
Yeah,
believe
can
it or
you
not.
remove your sunglasses real quick because you're on KVJ TV? I just
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
see the Sugar Tit hat. It says sugar. It says tit right under it.
Sugar Tit
And
Moonshine.
I like how you have the tit. It almost, you have to look at it. It looks a little bit like Stonehenge. You're like
Right.
going, oh no, I think that says tit.
Well, that's because the hat's dirty too. So
Okay,
I would-
yeah. Well,
I
you
would
gotta
have-
have it seasoned, right?
That's
you don't
right.
want
You can't
good
have
South
just a clean-
Carolina hat all
No.
clean.
We love clean titties. We love dirty titties. Oh.
we take
Yeah.
them all. If I can get this cap on here, I probably had too much of that 120 already.
I think my moonshine's already kicking in, homie.
Well, yeah, because I'm having a hard time getting this cap on here. So we'll see what happens. We might spill some, but that'll be all
Oh,
right.
dude. You don't have to worry about spilling around
Yeah, that's
here.
like, when you're a 3-beer drinker, you drink one, spill one, and give one away.
That's what we do. We spill a lot of booze right here.
That's the
Thank
the
you.
blackberry.
Whoa, ooh.
Oh, that's my glass. What am I doing?
I
Give me
don't
that one.
care. We're all friends.
Well, the 120 probably killed the germs anyway.
Yeah, true. We're cool.
You can't get germs around moonshine.
No.
I remember
You
Lake
want to
Park.
pass that to Kevin, please?
We share our drinks from Lake Park.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wouldn't be
Which
the
one
first
is this,
time.
Bob, here? What kind of moonshine we got?
This is the blackberry. We call this blackberry burnout.
Okay.
The truck on the label is actually a friend of mine's pickup truck.
It's a cool old school looking. What kind of
Yeah,
truck is
that's
that?
like a 54 Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That really fits the
Right.
whole motif and look of what you got.
And then the girl in the picture is my wife.
Oh,
When she took
that's
pictures
fun.
of her
Adorable, by
when
the
she
way.
was younger.
She was making me laugh. I
yeah.
love how you're on the phone and then she kept on
Yeah.
talking to the background.
Yeah, she did.
She was like standing just away from me, and I kept trying to get her to come over, get closer so that they could hear you.
I
And she
love-
finally did, yeah.
It was great.
That's very tasty.
But that's a typical wife,
That's
right?
very, very tasty. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
and that's
the
amazing. You
blackberry.
don't, and you don't have to mix this with anything. It's just good to go.
Yeah,
That blackberry
that's
is
good.
fantastic.
Got a nice taste to it.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, it really does. This is some
is
really
nice.
good stuff.
That's good.
Okay, and how many different varieties and flavors do you have in total? Do you know
13
about?
right now.
13.
13, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll definitely get some KVJ Nationers that go to Sugar Tit Distillery. There's no
Oh,
way
yeah.
they will not.
So there's actually somebody that messaged me on Facebook because of the show last week that they moved from Port St. Lucie to that area, and they're going to be coming to the distillery. So
Oh yeah.
that's pretty cool.
That is so cool. Yeah, well, I know, honestly, a lot of people from Florida that have left and gone to the Carolinas.
Yeah,
So,
there's a lot of people up there from Florida.
yeah.
Is it good country up there?
It's great
It's nice,
country.
yeah.
It really is. I mean, it's, you know what? It's a temperate climate, and it
Yes.
gets cold.
Yeah.
I mean, when I went through there in November, it was chilly.
I felt chilly here this morning getting out. It was cold here for me this morning.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Yeah, so it's you can get cold, but you know it's temper. I mean, it's nothing too crazy. I mean, you'll get a little bit of snow here and there, I guess.
Yeah,
every
a
now
little
and
bit,
then.
every
but
once in a while.
Yeah.
If you had to live there, would you be unhappy or cozy?
I would love it. You know, I think it's in, you know, our buddy Goob showed me. Let me see, what town was it? It would have been. What's your big city next to you, Bob?
Greenville.
Yeah, I think it was downtown Greenville, and they had a really cool. I haven't gone there and party, but it looked like a lot of people bar hopping, and there was crowds of people all over the main drag
Yeah,
there.
it's a really nice city. It's not too big. It's a young city. There's a lot
Yep.
of young people there because of the colleges, so there's a lot
Right.
of young people. We were actually down there Friday night, and they do a thing at Noma Square. They have music outside. They have bands.
It's
They
what it
have
looked
beer
like. It was
trucks.
just Friday night, so you must have just missed Goob.
I was there
Probably
Friday
in the
night. Me and
video,
my
okay.
wife were there. yeah.
Do you know Goob?
I don't know Goob, but there's another guy named Goob up that lives in Sugar Tit. Actually, he owns the Sugar Tit Speedway. It's a little
I
golf
think there might be a
cart
few
speed
Goobers
track.
in that part of South Carolina.
Yeah, there's probably a few Goobers.
Bubbas, a few
There's
Goobers.
a few Goobers
Yeah,
up there.
It's just, they kind of
That's-
overuse some nicknames.
That's kind of why I asked you. It's Goober, where because I know
Yeah.
I know somebody named Goob up there.
Yeah.
They call him Goober. Yeah.
We've known Goob since. I mean,
He used to be a
was-
paramedic in town that listened to
Okay.
the show.
When
He's
I
been
got on
up
the
there
show,
20
he-
years probably.
That's for Kevin.
He was a big time listener before I even got on the
Big
show.
time. Yeah, still has been. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well-
it's nice. The people there are fantastic, and it's a cool town. It'd be a little bit more quaint, a little bit
Yeah.
slower than here, but just absolutely gorgeous.
It is, and then the other bigger city up there is Spartanburg. So I'm
Yeah.
right in between Greenville and Spartanburg, right? So we're in a little town called Reedville with an R. Every time we say Reedville, people say Greenville. I'm like, no, Reedville.
Yeah.
So it's a little town. It's a nice little community. The people are really nice there, and I'm actually mayor pro tem of the town.
That's
So
amazing. Yeah,
that's
that's
pretty
cool.
funny.
That's cute.
I mean, I take it responsible. I take responsibility. You know what I mean? I'm saying it's funny, but I like what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know
sorry, Karen.
I was just going to say, my cousins they put on a concert there every year. They're just right outside of Clemson, which is
Okay.
your area. I'll have
Yeah.
to connect you with them, get some Sugar Tit Moonshine over
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
Are you annoyed like a Burger King McDonald's situation? Let's say all of a sudden somebody comes up with your competition,
Yeah.
Salty Tit.
Yeah.
Annoyed, or you go, let's go.
No, I tell them
Manufacturers.
let's go at it. Let's go. Let's see who's got the best.
It ain't going to fly because Sugar Tit's the real
No.
thing.
Plus, I have
Yeah.
a registered trademark for mine, so
Yeah.
Salty Tit don't stand a
There's
chance.
actually another distillery that's going to open up in Blacksburg, South Carolina. I had a 100-gallon still. I actually sold him my 100-gallon still.
Okay.
So it's like we work together. We try to help each other out, all the distilleries. I'm also on the board of directors of the South Carolina Distillers Guild, so I know pretty much everybody in the state that has a distillery. There's 36 distilleries in South Carolina. Yeah.
Now, would you say people there are welcoming to you, or do they look at you like a Yankee and you're an outsider? How does that go? Because we had a conversation about Miami
It's a
kind
good
of being
question.
that way.
And I heard that. I was listening to you guys on the way down. But that's a good question. So most people are welcoming. There are a few that don't like Yankees. They're still fighting the Civil War, I guess. But where I'm from, nobody talks about the Civil War, right? So, but most people, I'd say 99.99% of the people are good, right?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
all good. So yeah, it's good.
Okay.
They're all friendly. If someone says "bless your heart," they might be telling you you're a dumbass. So
Oh,
Yeah, you're right.
believe me.
Know that very
That's
well on
what
this show.
Virginia says. Bless your heart.
yeah, you're a dumbass. Pretty much is what they're saying. I can't
So
believe what you
insulting.
just said.
So insulting.
But
So
yeah.
insulting. That's great. Well, Bob, thank you so much for dropping off and giving us a nice little education and moonshine and Sugar Tit. And we got our audience now all caught up, and we want to support. I know a lot of people are going to be ordering some moonshine.
You got to try that peach, though. Try that peach.
This is clear, and this is amazing. Which is just, it's delicious.
I drank it all.
That peach is good.
It's real good. Like,
It really has changed my perspective on moonshine. It's very delicious. It's easy to drink. And you've got a lot of different grades to go. You can go all the way down to the 40 and take it easy, or you can ramp up,
Go
baby.
up to the 120 proof. And
Yeah.
Who wants to go to the track? I don't know. Gamble.
That's right,
Do
baby.
some shit
St.
there.
Patty's Day.
let's
We
have
got
some
March
fucking
Madness
fun.
going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, and I brought you all some shirts too. So I got you some T-shirts here.
Oh,
So,
you are
right?
the best.
And I'm going to leave that moonshine
Be
for
wearing
you. You
that
can all
tomorrow.
fight over it.
It's
see
very
what-
kind.
I
you guys
appreciate
want.
you,
Very
Bob.
I got one for Virginia too.
Okay.
I got one for Denny's. He's got his out there.
She gonna love it. Sugar Tit.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe
A little thing that kind of tells a story about us here too. So if you want these, you can have
Yeah,
them.
I love. You know what? I love your story. Hearing you and your wife, I would love to do something like that with my wife. It's just cool that you made that move and that
Yeah.
you're doing what you're doing. I know how much fun you got to be having
It's
doing this.
fun. We
project.
have a lot of fun with the people that come in.
Yeah.
We had people Saturday drive 2 hours from Georgia just to come to the distillery, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've had them come from 5 hours away just to come to the distillery. They said we drove 5 hours just to
Wow.
come here. They bought it, did their thing, and then drove 5 hours back.
Wow.
How long have you been married for?
25 years in June.
Wow.
Yeah.
25.
Yeah, in June, 25 years.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's so
that's
cool.
great.
Yeah, June 17th.
All right, very nice. Well, thank you, Bob. Appreciate
All right,
it.
guys, I appreciate you.
Okay.
All right, we're going to head out, go back
Okay.
up to Fort Pierce.
Yeah,
that was
Treasure
great fun.
Coast, baby. All right, well, stay in touch, okay, Bob?
I will. Yeah, thank you, guys.
I'm gonna get
Thank
up there
you.
soon and come see you guys.
You have to, yeah.
We were talking about different kind of intoxicant liquor today on the regular show, the THC beverages that are out there. Bird, you said you'd tried something called Nowadays, and you're doing little shots of that. Had a good time. Seen you, Bob. And we were talking about the cost on that. Caitlin said a bottle of that Nowadays that Bird had is about $70.
Yeah, it wasn't for the faint of heart, but
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I kind of didn't like it.
Yeah, it sounded like it did the job. I mean, for me, I'm just looking at, okay, is that something I would do? And the cost is a big part of it because
Well-
I choose my tequila based on cost.
We always talk about how if you're clanked or you're a little stressed out. I was kind
Yeah.
of just stressed out,
Right.
And I got that.
Gets the job done right away, though.
I mean, within 20 minutes, I was dancing around.
But what you're saying, though, even with 20 minutes, like I'll tell you with tequila, I mean, it's about as soon as it hits my lips, I can feel the effects of it.
Yeah,
It's
and-
that quick. So it sounds like the alcohol works faster than this stuff. Because I know when I do the tincture stuff, it takes some time.
You
and
know
I
what?
got to prepare to ramp up to it.
Don't go with what I'm saying. It could have been 20 minutes. It could have
Okay.
been 2. You know,
I
I'm just
hear you,
I'm just
okay.
saying within 20 minutes
You
of the
noticed your
drink,
day had changed
just
and you were in
I
a
was
gr- yeah.
in the best. Yeah, within 20 minutes I was in
You're
the good.
very giggly in that pizza video that you and your girlfriend made that's up on our social media.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
was like, it looks like either he is drunk on love or he's had some THC infused beverage.
the Beats Pizza review. Yes.
Yes. Oh yeah. Saw a very giggly Bird on there. Looks like you were just having a lot of fun. She's making you happy. I
I
assume.
had a fun weekend.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad when you have a good weekend. Lee said, "Yeah, I want to tell you, local liquor stores sells THC in shot black bottle and a white bottle, and the black bottle I do believe is $6. But I know several people that rather do that than drink a beer.
It's definitely a different vibe. It's
Yeah.
it's not
It
liquor.
is.
It's not liquor. Alcohol and weed are different things. I think sometimes people put them in the same category. They're not at all.
Yeah,
They're
and
quite not the
we,
same.
we were curious about how they were able to even do it legally, knowing that you have to have a medical marijuana card in Florida to get the stuff, and nobody's using a medical marijuana card. But apparently, she said, I talked to a cop, and he said that it's chemical THC, not from the flower, which he said courts have said they cannot enforce the laws against. I really don't get it. They do taste pretty good. So apparently they're getting a loophole. It does the same effects, but it's not coming from actual flour.
Oh yeah,
And so they don't regulate it or don't police it. You can just buy it,
It's
which is crazy.
so unhealthy. You're definitely getting poisoned. But with that said,
Yeah.
with that said, your Fridays are gonna be kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm a little now. It's chemically infused. I mean, I assume it's safe.
Oh,
but
so many metals.
Still.
I'm sure of it.
yeah. So it's not the real flour in it. Okay, interesting there. A couple other emails that we got here. Nashville Billy said, I was thrilled to hear you guys talking the other day about 311, how you think they should be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I've been following them since 1994. Love how much of a range they have. Yeah, absolutely.
I bet you there are some deep tracks we don't even know about that we would love.
Yeah, he said they've got banging songs like Fat Chance, Omaha Style. They're from Omaha, Nebraska. Stealing Happy Hours and Flowing, to pop songs like Sand Dollars, Made in the Shade, to classics like Brodels and Gap. They have it all. So he loves them. He said their concerts are phenomenal. And he said just seeing a bunch of shitty bands get inducted recently, like ELO, Steve Winwood, Sinead O'Connor, Motorhead, Devo, Missy Elliott, and Deep Purple, just to name a few, I started to lose faith.
Whatever. ELO? Are you shitting me? Jeff Lynne? Fuck.
Yeah.
No. ELO deserves a place at that table, my friend.
Yeah, I've always seen the respect people have put on Jeff Lynne's name, and so
Jeff Lynne is a legend. I know.
Don't Bring Me Down, Evil Woman.
I know some people go, who the fuck is Jeff Lynne? I'm telling you, that guy is. He's done a lot of great fucking work. I go to bat for Jeff Lynne. He's one of my guys.
Yeah.
He looks like a Muppet. I love him. I love Jeff Lynne.
Yeah, to me, I wonder what the question is. What is your standards for having somebody in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? And the one thing I threw out when we were talking about this is the band should be able to do a residency and have enough hits to fill a full bill. Because my reference to that was, for instance, the Village People that really had 2 songs. And they were talking about they need to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm like, yeah, YMCA was huge, but you got that in the Navy, and there was nothing else that cut through on that band. 2 songs is, if that's the case, how many artists would be in every Hall of Fame if the standard was, hey, if you come out with 2 good songs, Dua Lipa's in, and
exactly.
Everybody's in it at that point. And what's special about a Hall of Fame if that's the standard? So, to me, I didn't like that. And the one thing, the knock, I think Jeff Lynne is talented. Now, their mainstream hits, you've got 2, Evil Woman and Don't Bring Me Down, as I'm looking at these songs that I recognize.
No, they have so many. Dog, they've got so many hits. Top 40 major hits.
Okay. That'd be it. I'm not familiar with anything other than that. They have songs called Mr. Blue Sky.
Yes, that's a jam. That song is such a jam. It's in commercials. But keep in mind, I'm coming from a fan's perspective.
Right.
If you don't know who ELO is or Jeff Lynne, you're going, Burr, shut the fuck up, please, now.
Yeah. And for the most part, I think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame should be kind of a no-brainer, mass appeal. Everybody gets it.
I think you should have about 8 hits at minimum. 8 hits. If you have 8 radio hits, you could easily do a residency. You could. You could mix in a couple B-sides that are great, a couple covers. It's an hour-and-a-half show.
I think 8 to 10 should be about the standard, and they should come off of multiple albums. You didn't have just one flash in the pan.
Exactly. I do like that criteria.
Mm-hmm.
I do love talking music with you. It's fun.
Yeah, there are some people like Sinead O'Connor. Look, I love Sinead O'Connor, and I like her more than some of the others because I liked her alternative stuff. Nothing Compares to You, which is a song everybody knows. To me, I like Mandinka better. The Emperor Has No Clothes. So I like some of her other songs better. But again, she doesn't go. Even if you loved her alternative stuff, you don't have more than 3 or 4 hits tops with Sinead O'Connor. And I don't think she's a Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member.
And guess what? You can still be awesome and not a Hall of Famer.
And you can be influential.
It's kind of like in sports. All-Star, Hall of Famer. Both are great.
Right.
But just one just does a little bit more with a little bit more longevity is all.
Yeah. If you're walking through the Hall of Fame, you should not be like, who? Like what? It should be like, okay, respectfully, I understand.
I would agree with you.
Because think about as time goes on, if we start allowing, there'll be 8,000 people and then there's nothing special about it. You want people in 30, 40 years to be like, who's this Led Zeppelin? What is that? I never heard of that. And be like, okay, all right, I got it now.
And what sucks is I know that a lot of our audience does not know who Jeff Lynne is, but Jeff Lynne was a guy who really was on top of the game for so long in his life and career. Mm-hmm. Not only as a musician,
he did other projects too with
he was
other
a
artists.
Producer, yeah.
And maybe that'd be the argument. Maybe Jeff Lynne belongs, because I think they might do that a little bit separately too. And he said, "Look, I'm a fan of Bruce Springsteen and the Rolling Stones, but both of them have shitty songs and albums, and I'm a huge fan of both." Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's about the crappy songs you've had. Like, for instance, the Queen album that has Under Pressure on it, which is a legendary song. The rest of the album's kind of shitty.
Queen is one of those bands where I either love the song or I fucking hate the song. It's so bizarre. And keep in mind, too, you've got 4 dudes making all different songs.
Right.
They were all songwriters. So they're all coming in with their own perspective and their own flavor. So that's why there's a little bit of inconsistency at times, which, some people love it. I like the Freddie songs. I just like.
They have a polarizing song called Dragon Attack. Do you know it?
Oh, yeah.
Do you hate that song?
I do not like Dragon Attack.
I knew you would hate it.
I do not like it.
I knew you would hate that song. Yeah, the rockers love it, and I figured you would hate it. Nick said, I have a TV recommendation for Kev, and Jay Bird might be into it too. It's called Hysteria on Peacock. It's about a small town overcome with the satanic panic craze of the 1980s. When a teen is found murdered in what looks like a satanic sacrifice, a high school metal band takes advantage of the panic and begins promoting themselves as a cult to get popular. I know Kevin grew up around the satanic panic, absolutely, and he loved 80s metal bands. It's only one season with 8 episodes, about 45 minutes to an hour each. Yeah, I'll check that out. It sounds cool.
I was cleaning my house, and randomly on YouTube, it just popped up as I, in the background. It was the Logan Murders.
Oh yeah,
that documentary.
Yeah.
And I'd listened to it a few years back, and I forgot some of the details. She was messed up, man.
It was messed up, yeah. Well, they were severed bodies. Teenagers went out on a lovely stroll on one day and didn't come back. And then they started finding, there were kids, there was this lot we used to ride bikes in, and they were ramping, and they ramped, and all of a sudden a leg kicked out of the ground. And they're like, what the hell is that?
Could you imagine that? You're just chilling with your friends.
Yeah, they lived on the other, side of town,
leg.
so I didn't really know the kids, but I heard the story. We knew the story well. And then they went, they dug it up, and they had the body parts. And then somebody stepped back and looked at, because the body parts were not all in one space. They were kind of spread out. And as they did it, they drawn like, oh my God, this is a pentagram, which is the satanic star. And satanic panic was big at that time. And, Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil was out and all that. So that was the era that this was going on. And then they found their heads floating down the river in a bag. And they're like, oh my gosh. And there was apparently a biker gang that had been seen through town. Like, oh, the bikers killed them in a satanic ritual. And
always blame it on the biker gang.
That was it.
Easy MO.
It was, it sounds like that was actually modeled after the story out of my town, because that's what it was. Like I tell, it was perfect timing, because like I said, Shout at the Devil had just come out. We had pentagrams. We had mysterious dismembered bodies. And it was small town. It was around Halloween. I remember because they canceled Halloween because this fat kid was so upset that I didn't get candy.
That's what I was looking at. The date. I go, so how old was the Kevin Ralston at that time? You were 9 or 10?
Yeah, it was 83 was Shout at the Devil, 82, 83.
I think
so
the murder happened in 81, I think.
Yeah,
81
somewhere
or 82,
around there.
something like that.
It was right around that whole era where, Ozzy was doing his devil stuff. And, I remember at my church, they were trying to play every song backwards to hear the devil messages. And
dude, a double murder like that in a small
town, 6,000 people.
Is
yeah,
horrifying.
Well, and it had the look. If you see a movie, the town is perfect for the staging because everything's kind of run down, looks old, leaves are off the trees or coming down, and so it had that spooky feel around Halloween. Yeah, it was. You would have. I mean, now if you were there, you'd be like, "Oh my gosh, this is just perfect."
Murderers love them some woods.
Absolutely,
they love woods.
Yeah, it was a mystery for many years, and then of course, the stepdad was a butcher in town, and they fingered him for it and said, "Oh, he did it, and he had the tools, and that's why they were dismembered." And it turned out he was innocent.
Now, how long did he go being kind of he did it? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
Well, law enforcement's very efficient in my hometown. I think they figured it out about 20, 25 years later. Somebody had actually called and they saw two knuckleheads covered in blood, and somebody called the police and they wrote it down on a Post-it note and it got lost. I mean, nobody did a follow-up on the two guys covered in blood that turned out doing it.
And what's crazy is there are so many other stories like what you're talking about where police work Keystone Cops. They just, I can't believe it. I lost it. It flew out the window.
They're more worried about kids TPing houses and, that kind of stuff. That's that's what sets, dismembered murder, that's not a big deal.
The crimes they actually could try to stop.
Right, they're not going to mess with that. Let's get the 8th graders that are TPing houses.
Well, who do you want to take down? The TPers
Let's get that
or
Ralston
the
kid.
Santana Gold?
You know, we still haven't solved that cold case murder of the
Yeah.
dismembered teens.
They're toilet paper people.
Let's go. And man, you talk about this. Let you know my AC is out. Not looking forward to heading home to the hot house. But Gail said, you know, most often it's your capacitor that goes out. It's an $11 part that when the AC company comes out, they'll charge you $400 to replace. It'll take you 10 minutes to do it yourself.
Where is your situation today? How long do you project you being sweaty balls?
I don't know. Wife's going to be calling. I'm sure she probably already has to get an appointment. So it depends upon how, how long before they can come out. And
Oh, dog, you're going to have such sweaty nards.
yeah, going home, I'm going to be sitting shirtless in front of a fan, hot, sweating my balls off.
I would take a video of that.
Okay, I could do that.
5 seconds slow-mo.
All
It
right.
would do well.
Okay. And for your problem with the gas bill, VJ said, yeah, I used to be a gas meter reader in West Palm years ago. And when reading a gas meter, you start reading from the right to the left. And also a gas leak would smell like rotten eggs. Also look for any dying bush or hedges around the house. Well, the others are good. That's a sign of a gas leak also.
Not going to lie, got a lot of feedback from that one. A lot of people have gone through what I'm going through, where they're getting these ridiculous bills to go. How does it go from $20 a month to $190?
Right.
You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. So a lot of things can cost you a lot of money. So there you go. But when it does, just get out some damn Sugar Tit Moonshine.
Let's go gamble.
That's right, baby. All right, I think Virginia got her flight home, so she'll be back with us tomorrow. Y'all enjoy your St. Patty's Day. We'll see you back here on Tuesday. Goodbye.